So, firstly, why do we want and need the estrogen effect? Why do people fervently seek the estrogen effect through the use of phytoestrogens and plant based hormones? Okay, let's start from the beginning because this will blow your mind. Estrogen is one of over 50 hormones produced by the body. Hormones are chemical messengers in the body and brain that tell the body and brain what to do. And when each is in perfect physiological range for our gender, and our specific body and brain needs, our body and brain is in perfect balance, and you feel like you're on fire and you can do anything. Now, estrogen is one of our sex hormones. They're also called reproductive hormones, that in an ideal scenario, our body actually makes effortlessly and in the exact right quantities for us during our reproductive years. And estrogen is often associated with womanness and fertility. But here's the exciting thing about estrogen: it's not just about sex or reproduction, as the name would suggest. Sex hormone, reproductive hormone. It's actually the ultimate superpower for your entire body and brain. Hello, I'm Stephanie, creator of the Body Brain Reset, the 14-day micro course that helps you reset your body and brain and feel like yourself again really fast. It is the ultimate guide to biohacking body brain balance when hormones start to fluctuate in your 30s and 40s, also known as perimenopause, which actually starts younger than you think. So be prepared and power through it. You can join the waitlist by clicking the link below, and you will be the first to know when the Body Brain Reset course opens. In today's episode, we're talking about how to boost the estrogen effect and the 5 incredible phytoestrogens and plant-based hormones that I've benefited from that help reduce a lot of these pesky symptoms that pop up in your 30s and 40s in one fell swoop. Now, if you have any questions while watching this episode and you want to know more about anything that I cover or anything else, pop them in the comments below and I will make a part 2. So before we talk about the phytoestrogens and plant-based hormones that can mimic the estrogen effect in the body and brain, let's talk about why we're so excited to mimic estrogen in the first place. It's because the estrogen that our body produces naturally has powerful long-term protective effects. Estrogen is made by the ovaries and small amounts are made in the adrenal glands. And your body actually produces 4 types of estrogen across your lifetime. And estradiol is the main form produced in your body during your reproductive years. But, and this is the most interesting part, it may be produced in your ovaries and the adrenal glands, but there are estrogen receptors in every cell, in every system in your body, waiting to receive estrogen and bind with it so they can function optimally. So yes, it's literally cell food for your body and brain. But just let me impress upon you how important this is. So there are estrogen receptors in our brain waiting for an adequate supply of estrogen to help improve our mood and reduce anxiety, help us with learning, improve memory and concentration, increase levels of other neurotransmitters, including dopamine, serotonin, and melatonin. Which also helps improve sleep. It increases connections between our brain cells so that we can literally think straight and be creative. It improves our energy and many other things, and that's in the brain alone. But our brain needs an adequate supply of estrogen to function optimally. There are also estrogen receptors in our heart, our liver, our bones, our joints and muscles, our bowels, our nerves, our bladder, and they are all just waiting for adequate levels of estrogen to function optimally. In particular, there are estrogen receptors in our vulva and vagina as well, where estrogen's role is to keep us lubricated, the right pH, and free from inflammation and infection. And there are estrogen receptors in our skin, where its vital role is as the ultimate inbuilt skincare system because it increases collagen production and reduces moisture loss. It improves elasticity and increases blood supply to the skin, and it basically keeps our skin plump and dewy and glowy. So when we're in our 20s, we're ticking along in life, career and relationships with sharp minds and healthy vaginas and gorgeous skin when bam, sometime in our 30s or 40s, our levels of estrogen start to fluctuate more dramatically than usual and then fall forever, which can literally make our brain go haywire. well, our brain and our body go haywire. So that's why we get so excited about phytoestrogens. We want that estrogenic effect even when our natural levels start to fluctuate and fall. So, what exactly are phytoestrogens? They are literally plant compounds that can mimic or modulate estrogenic activity in the body because of their structural similarity to our estrogens and their ability to bind to and influence our estrogen receptors, just like our natural estrogen does. And they've been used in traditional medicine like Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine for thousands of years to precisely support female hormone balance. And luckily, now these days, there's enough research to show their efficacy and effectiveness and even soften the heart and mind of those who are the most skeptical when it comes to food as medicine or plant medicine and alternative medicine, as phytoestrogens are sometimes referred to these things, when in reality, phytoestrogens are just food and they are a part of this extraordinary immune system of the planet that's being gifted to us by Mother Earth. Now, some phytoestrogens activate estrogenic effects and some block them. So, overall, as a food group, they can have balancing effects depending on whether you want to prevent symptoms or remedy them. Now, phytoestrogens are typically metabolized and excreted by the body within 24 hours, and they are far less potent than the estrogen our body makes naturally. Now, the ones I'm sharing with you today are safe, commercially available in most supermarkets, even, and affordable and pretty much ready to consume, unless you want to make them tastier, which I have a few tips for in a minute. But if you're in any doubt, check with your healthcare, herbal, or nutrition practitioner before making any changes to your diet and lifestyle and to determine the right dose and preparation method for you. Now, if you've learned something so far, I'd love you to take a moment to give this video a thumbs up. This is going to tell YouTube that the video is helpful, and hopefully it will help more people like you find this information a lot easier. And if you learned something from this video and you're not a subscriber yet, please subscribe to the channel. It's a really simple way to support my business, and it really helps me continue to create valuable content just like this for you. All right, so let's move on to the first phytoestrogen, and this is called shatavari. Now, shatavari is made from the roots of a type of asparagus that grows in India, and studies show that shatavari contains phytoestrogenic compounds capable of binding to estrogen receptors in our body. The researchers have observed that shatavari supplementation has improved muscle function in postmenopausal women, potentially mediated by its estrogenic effects. But it has been used in Ayurvedic medicine for thousands of years as a female hormone balancer. It is super rich in phytoestrogens. It's known for helping to balance hormones responsible for menopausal symptoms like hot flashes, vaginal dryness, and mood changes. It is used for regulating menstrual cycles, alleviating PMS and PMT, and it acts like an aphrodisiac as well by enhancing sexual function. So it boosts libido. So, shatavari also stimulates and balances the production of happy hormones, endorphins, serotonin, and dopamine, meaning it can greatly reduce mood swings, irritability, and menopause induced depression. It works as an aphrodisiac, as I just mentioned, and enhances libido. And for this reason, it is jokingly and lovingly referred to as she who has 100 husbands. It also has benefits for digestive health, particularly for cleansing the gut, as well as in immune system support. That's pretty estrogenic, right? Basically, it helps with almost everything. It comes as a powder or a tincture. And I started taking a teaspoon a day, and I took it religiously for 8 years. I started when I was 35, and it smoothed out my menstrual cycle to a perfect 35-day rhythm. It got rid of my monthly breast pain and my monthly cramping and made me just feel overall great. It just smoothed out the prickly edges of my monthly cycle. Now, this was my first phytoestrogen, and I was totally sold once I appreciated the benefits of it for myself. I recommended it to everyone at the time, but most people just thought I was weird back then. A fun fact, did you know that only 16% of women have a 28-day cycle? A pretty normal cycle is anything from 21 to 35 days. So, whatever the length of your cycle, you are normal, and so is your cycle. Now, let's move on to the next phytoestrogen, soy. Soy, love it or hate it, I know, but it's one of the perhaps most well known phytoestrogens and one of the richest sources of isoflavone phytoestrogens. Now, isoflavone is one of three phytoestrogen compounds that is highest in estrogenic effects and the most researched. It's also found in red clover. But soy foods that are high in phytoestrogens include tofu, tempeh, edamame, soy milk, miso, and soy protein isolates. So if you've tried tofu and didn't like it, like me, there are other options to explore. And there are so many ways of making them tasty. But my absolute favorite hack is to add 2 tablespoons of edamame beans to every meal, especially salads. Or my real favorite source of soy is tempeh. And what I do, you get it like this, comes in a little plastic container, you slice it. I marinate the slices in coconut aminos, which is kind of, I guess, a super healthy alternative to tamari or soy sauce or teriyaki sauce. I marinate it for about 2 hours, sometimes overnight if I remember, before baking it or sauteing it, and I serve it with vegetables and quinoa. And it is my favorite source of protein aside from the salmon, and I eat it regularly. Fun fact, most research about menopause has been conducted in the US and with Caucasian women, but one particular study has found that women from South Asian backgrounds whose diets may be more plant-based, i.e., containing phytoestrogens, tend to suffer fewer hot flushes, night sweats, and skin changes. So, phytoestrogens are also preventative. They don't just help with your existing symptoms, they potentially prevent them from starting in the first place. Now, let's move on to the next phytoestrogen, flax seeds. And I'd say, like soy, flax is pretty famous and well known as a phytoestrogen and used daily by a lot of people. Now, flax seeds are an essential source of lignin phytoestrogens, particularly one with the acronym SDG. Now, lignin phytoestrogens have anti inflammatory, antioxidant, and anti tumor properties. And the health benefits attributed to lignans have included things like lowered risk of heart disease, lowered risk of or occurrence of menopausal symptoms, and a lower risk of osteoporosis and breast cancer. There's a lot to recommend it. Now, flax seeds contain a higher total phytoestrogen content than most other foods, which makes it particularly exciting. Now, you can soak 1 to 2 tablespoons of the whole seeds overnight and then add them to smoothies and cereals and soaked oats or whatever the next day. Or, like me, you can buy them cold milled and ready to consume in this kind of format. This is what I do, and I simply add 2 tablespoons to either my soaked oats, yogurt, and fruit, or a smoothie every single day. Flax is also a really good source of protein, magnesium, and omega-3, and it's an amazing bowel cleaner and source of fiber that will keep you regular and probably help ease constipation if you suffer from that. So let's move on to the next phytoestrogen, fenugreek. Now, this is my newest obsession. I've just started drinking it. And in fact, I have a cup with me right now. Fenugreek is a herb, actually. Beautiful green, fresh leaf green herb, native to India and Southern Europe. The seeds are the active part, and it makes the most amazing tea. I'll show it to you in a minute. There is significant evidence that fenugreek seeds possess phytoestrogen properties and can provide health benefits related to hormonal balance and menopausal symptoms in women. A specific study has found that the the phytoestrogen effective fenugreek seed extract helped relieve leg pain and vasomotor symptoms, also known as things like hot flashes, in postmenopausal women when compared to a placebo group in a randomized double-blind trial. Now, fenugreek seeds have been used for thousands of years and are documented as being used by the ancient Egyptians and Romans, as far back as that, right? For fevers, respiratory and intestinal complaints, as well as wound healing and abscesses. Now, Indian women have long used fenugreek seeds to stimulate milk production for breastfeeding, and they are used in Ayurveda for arthritis, bronchitis, and digestive upsets. Now, these days, it's typically used for digestive health, particularly to ease constipation, to help produce milk when you're breastfeeding, and that is difficult, to encourage regular periods, ease menstrual cramps, and relieve PMS and PMT symptoms. And interestingly enough, to manage type 1 and type 2 diabetes, because it supposedly helps to lower blood glucose levels and improve glucose tolerance. So it's another excellent and preventative all-rounder. Now, you can buy it as the seeds, as a tincture or a powder or capsules. I have the seeds, and all I do is soak 4 teaspoons in a cup of water, boiling water, for a few minutes, and then I remove the seeds and drink it. I was recommended fenugreek seeds by next week's guest, an outrageously smart woman who's going to be talking about cellular rejuvenation and how to get that plump Botox effect without the Botox. So subscribe and stay tuned for that. Finally, the moment you've perhaps been waiting for, plant-based hormones. What on earth are they? So I'm talking specifically about body-identical plant-based estrogen. If you're in your 30s or 40s right now, you're the first generation of women who can start supplementing their hormones from the get-go with pharmaceutical grade, prescription only, regulated for safety, hormone suppletion derived from, wait for it, the wild yam plant. The wild yam has been used in Ayurveda as a hormone balancer for 7,000 years. So when I first heard about this 2 years ago, my holistic brain lit up. It's called body identical estrogen because it has the exact same molecular structure as the estrogen produced in your body by your ovaries. It's prescribed by either a menopause specialist or a doctor accredited or certified in menopause in the exact method, type, and dose that's right for you to bring your levels back into the correct female physiological range that solves your symptoms. Now, it comes in the form of a gel, a spray, or a patch, and is prescribed together with body identical micronized progesterone if you have a uterus still, and increasingly alongside testosterone cream or gel derived from soy or wild yam substrates, so that your holy triumvirate of reproductive hormones are all supplemented and brought into natural female physiological balance simultaneously, because they often go haywire together in your 30s and 40s. In this case, you would have regular blood tests to ensure that your hormones are back within female physiological range after starting them, and that they stay there in that range, and that you feel on top of your game. Body identical estrogen is heavily regulated, rigorously tested and researched, and recommended by the National Institute of Health and Care Excellence guidelines, also known as NICE, and their guidelines are called NG23, and this is in the UK. So thank you, Mother Nature, and also thank you to the NICE organization in the UK, because not all countries are this progressive or give their women their hormones back based on their symptoms. Not yet, anyway. We have a long way to go when it comes to women's health. Other countries, such as France and Australia, are really awake to women's health as well. The truth is, the solution is here, and we just have to eradicate medical gatekeeping globally for it to be accessible to all women globally. Now, ancient wisdom meets today's science through precise, efficiently absorbed doses, through sprays, gels, patches, and capsules that restore your body to adequate levels of estrogen as well as progesterone and testosterone. Now, the purpose of body identical hormones is to just supplement what's missing and to bring you back to within the normal female physiological range. I can't emphasize this enough. It is not to provide you with higher levels than you had in the first place. They are, to repeat, the exact same molecular structure as the hormones produced by your body already. It's so extraordinary. And I can tell you from personal experience, this is next level stuff. So, this is a patch. This is the form I take it in. I apply it around my hip or hip and buttock area twice a week, and it literally restored my brain within 2 days. I'm not kidding. That taking the three of them together, I got my body and brain back within 2 days after perimenopause symptoms struck. Unfold it and patch it to your skin, and it's as simple as that. Transformation in a patch. At some point, your hormones might dip so low that phytoestrogens just won't cut it, and you'll need the real thing. Now, 80% of women experience symptoms that throw a spanner into daily life, and 25% of women experience symptoms so severe that it can derail their life completely. And body identical hormones are the closest to the real thing that you're going to get. To learn more about hormonal fluctuations and perimenopause and how to reset your body and brain when symptoms start in your 30s and 40s, join the waitlist for the Body Brain Reset. The link is in the show notes below. So, which of these excite you the most? Shatavari, soy, flax, fenugreek, or body identical estrogen? Do your research. Research the solutions and experiment with those that align with your health and well-being values. And let me know how you go with your experiments. In the meantime, watch out for symptoms so that you can catch them early and nip them in the bud. Click now to watch the 34 symptoms of perimenopause, and you might also enjoy the 5 essential oils and blends that act like estrogen and mimic collagen as well. I'll see you next time. Bye.